alaikum, everybody. I want to share with you some tips on how you as new Muslims can really connect to the prayer, and how you can really connect to Allah during the prayer. Now, when you first convert to Islam, it's very difficult, I know, because you have this prayer that you have to learn. You have to learn all the movements, and of course you have to learn what to say in English or in your native language, as well as in Arabic, and that can sometimes be very daunting and make the prayer seem methodical and robotic almost. It can make it you feel like you don't have any kind of spiritual connection whatsoever, because you just feel you're just practicing moves and saying some words that you may or may not understand, and it just makes you feel away from Allah instead of close to Allah. So I want to give you some tips that I have learned along the years to make me feel really connected to Allah during prayer. And these tips help most of the time, because it depends on your iman. We often go on ups and downs. No matter how old we are in Islam, it can happen that our iman does go up and down. But if you follow these tips as closely as you can, you will find that you will really reconnect if you lose that connection, and you will find that you will start to connect if you are yet to feel that connection during the prayer, inshallah. Now, when I first became Muslim, like many of you, I didn't really know or have a mentor to help me pray or to learn how to pray. I had to get the information off the internet, and then I used to go home and do the movements and try and say what I could, but it didn't feel like I was doing anything. I just felt I was praying because I had to pray, and I'm sure many of you as new Muslims feel that way. When I moved to Egypt, it changed, because I suddenly found myself with other Muslims, and I prayed with them as much as I could, and this is the game changer. It may seem like it's very simple, and it can be difficult if you are not near a mosque or you are not near other Muslims, but as much as you can, at least once a week, try and pray in congregation with other Muslims, whether it be in a mosque or whether it just be in someone's house and you're with other brothers or other sisters, inshallah. Because when you pray in congregation, you feel the spirit of the ummah. You are all doing this together. You are all going down in sujood together. You are all saying the same things together. And there is a wisdom behind this. It links us, it connects us. And subhanAllah, we're doing that bonding and linking subconsciously through the act of prayer, and it gives you a spiritual uplift when you are part of the group that everybody is praying in. It gives you a big spiritual boost, and it doesn't quite matter if you haven't quite mastered the Arabic or whatever, because that will come in time. But the whole point of the congregation prayer is to feel that spirituality and to be among your other Muslim brothers and sisters who are going through the same thing at the same time as you, and it really is something that really gives you a big boost and makes you feel more connected to the prayer than you might have previously done. The second tip, and maybe actually you can start with this before you even join congregation, is watch the prayers performed in Mecca. Now, depending on where you are, you can find these nowadays on YouTube. They have live streaming sometimes, but you can also find channels on certain TV, depending on where you are, of people who are making Umrah, of people who are making Hajj at the time of Hajj. And you know, when you see this massive group of people all facing Kaaba, and you are all going down together and all coming back up together, it's such a beautiful sight. It really moves you emotionally, and it makes you want to be a part of this. This is why I said in my first tip that congregational prayer is so important when you are starting out, because you feel the closeness to your other Muslim brothers and sisters, and you feel the bonds that is there. So when you're watching them as well during prayer in Mecca, it's out of this world. So I really do recommend that you try and do that as well, inshallah, and you will find that there is a big spiritual boost to you when you are doing that. Subhanallah. Sometimes, as I mentioned in the beginning, we do lose faith and we forget why we have to pray, and we just pray for the sake of it because we have to, and it's said that we have to pray 5 times a day. And this is this can bring us away from that connection to Allah. So in this case, what we should do is we should find a really quiet, clean, safe place away from all distractions to perform the prayer. Before, and then when we've done that, you've sorted the spot out in your house or wherever you are. Once you have done that, you then need to clean your heart and your mind and remember who you are going to pray towards or to, and who you are speaking to, which is of course Allah. When you put that in your mind, then all the way through the prayer, you are conscious of who you are praying to, you are conscious of who you are speaking to, and it will give you that warm feeling that you are doing this for the sake of Allah, and it will really boost you in your spirituality as well. Before we begin, of course, we should make the intention as well of prayer and who we are doing the prayer before. It shouldn't be robotic and it shouldn't be cold. There should be a warmth in the prayer, and we should be talking to Allah in the prayer. And yes, we do have to make the moves and we do have to say the correct words, but we also have to keep in mind we are in a one-to-one now with Allah, and we do this 5 times a day. And it's such a miraculous, beautiful feeling that we get to speak to Allah 5 times a day. Many of us feel disconnected to Allah, but there is no need to feel that disconnected to Allah when we are speaking to Him 5 times a day. And this is what we have to put in our mind before each prayer. We are about to speak to Allah, and this should fill us with joy, with spirituality, with love, and it should really give us that connection, which is what we're looking for. So my 3rd tip is to make sure you're in a very clean, quiet place. You have the intention of praying and speaking to Allah, and you just remember before you start praying that you are about to speak to Allah. You're about to have your one-to-one with Him, whether it's your first one-to-one with Allah of the day or it's your 5th one-to-one with Allah of the day. And slowly this will make you feel happy, and it will make you love the prayer, and of course love Allah even more, inshallah. The 4th tip that I want to tell you about is when we are in sujood. This is the perfect time to make your dua. When you are in sujood, this is when you are closest to Allah. And, when you are feeling that you are this close to Allah, you feel that you can open your heart and tell Him absolutely anything. Of course, Allah already knows, but He wants to hear you. So you want to ask for that forgiveness, ask for that forgiveness. You want to ask Him for something that's troubling you, and you want to stop it, ask Him for that. You just want to get something off your chest, take that time in sujood to ask Him that, and to talk to Him, because that's when you are the most closest to Him. And when you finish, you feel like there is a big weight lifted off your shoulders, because you've just spoken to Allah in that sujood, and there is something so beautiful and so emotional really about that whole process. And I really recommend that when you are in sujood and you're praying by yourself, you really make the most of those times, because that is when you are closest to Allah, and that is the best time to really have these conversations with Him, subhanallah. And my last tip that I want to share with you is do not delay the prayer, because when you delay the prayer, then you're in a rush and you're stressed and you're anxious because you don't want to miss it. You want to catch it before the next prayer. You're not giving yourself the time and the energy really to pray properly, and that just makes you less connected to the prayer and less connected to Allah. So pray as much as you can on time when you can, because it gives you the sense of closeness to Allah. You will have the time to talk to Allah, you will have the time to connect to Allah, you will have the time to reflect and think about what you are doing in the prayer, and it won't just be a series of moves, because you are just eager to get that prayer finished so you can catch the next one, inshallah. So these tips, inshallah, I really hope will help you really connect and make you understand that this is not just about movements. We have to feel the spiritual connection to Allah, and inshallah these will help. May Allah bless you all, and may Allah make praying very easy for all of you. Ameen.